7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now live.
89.5 WSKB.
From the campus of Westfield State University, this is 89.5 FM, WSKB, Westfield. Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by Westfield Bank. For more than 160 years, Westfield Bank has been an important community presence and commercial leader in the Pioneer Valley. With convenient full banking services in Westfield, West Springfield, East Longmeadow, Agawam, Feeding Hills, Springfield, Southwick, as well as Enfield and Granby, Connecticut, visit us on the web at westfieldbank.org. We thank the generosity of our underwriters. For more information, please contact the Westfield State Foundation at 413 572-8646.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 6:02. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM, radio for the Westfield masses. My name is Tina Gorman. I'm your Wake Up Wednesday host. It is Wednesday, November 28th, so we are rounding out the month here. I'm in studio this morning with the chairman of the board, producer Pete Coles. Good morning, Pete.
Good morning. My last time for Nerd of the Knobs.
Yes, I know. I heard that yesterday on Bob's show. So he's working on the D name for you, the December name for you. Pete has all kinds of names that Bob Plass gives him on his Wow, It's Tuesday morning show, and they always have, something to do with, what do they call it? Is that like onomatopoeia where
sounds like type of thing. Yes. Bob's actually in with Harry Rock this morning.
Oh, well, there you go.
To talk about WOW and Decemberfest.
Yeah, all kinds of things going on. It's the holiday season. We have, well, I'm glad because I was going through all of my announcements and what's going on, and I thought, good grief. I was going through the penny saver yesterday, among other, of my resources.
Yes.
And I thought, WOW has a lot of stuff going on. So I'm glad that Bob will be in there to talk about that because, of course, we, too, at the Senior Center have all kinds of things going on for Westfield older adults here. So, having said all of that, let me
And then Bill Parks taped his hour with Bob yesterday.
Bill Parks was hysterical yesterday.
I told you what
Bob's guest. He was on such a roll when he was talking about the kids doing their play in the spring, and he wanted to get in there. What is the kids' version of Annie? I guess that's what they're doing.
Yes.
He really wanted to get in there as who Daddy Warbucks, and he had me laughing. I was doing my exercises yesterday morning, my stretches while I was listening
Hurricane Bob meets Storm Bill.
Yeah. It was a lot of fun to listen to. Bill is a wonderful, wonderful person. Does so much for the community, and is pretty humble about it. But I'm gonna throw that out there.
I just let him loose yesterday.
He's just a great person. So.
I let him completely loose, and they went on for an hour. I pretty much just sat here and laughed.
Yeah. Yeah, it was. It was really. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
A lot of fun to listen to them. So, good things going on. And just as a shout out, because probably people do not know this, and I don't think that Bill would say this. He talks a lot about programs for the children and so forth. He did talk a little bit about, they opened the pool and the gym for walkers, and I have a whole contingency of older adults who go swimming at the Boys and Girls Club in the morning when it's open to them. But they also house the home delivered meal program. They don't run it, but they house it. The home delivered meal program for Westfield's older adults is run through Highland Valley Elder Services. And for years, it was at one of the churches downtown. And then I think the church had to go up on their rent, and Highland Valley was looking for a new place. We were still in the old senior center, so there's no way we could take it. And Bill Parks opened up the Boys and Girls Club. So they have a room toward the back of the Boys and Girls Club, and that's where the meals are brought from Highland Valley every day, Monday through Friday, over to the Boys and Girls Club, and they're already prepared. So they just, but they have to put them in the coolers and the insulated bags for delivery and so forth. They have a phone there, and then the person who's running it is fairly new. Her name is Kate O'Donnell, I think, or O'Connell or O'Donnell. I'm not sure which. She's wonderful. She's super enthusiastic, and we, of course, had to coordinate all of that with for the Thanksgiving meal delivery.
Sure.
And speaking of the Thanksgiving meal delivery, do I have my list here somewhere? I'm looking for my list. We delivered, yes, I do. We delivered 100 meals, close to 100 meals on Thanksgiving morning. And I had a team of volunteers, and I want to shout
Sure.
out and give them a name. First of all, I want to thank Paul Soja. He coordinates the Thanksgiving dinner preparation over at the Knights of Columbus in Chicopee,
That's the Castle Knights,
the
right?
Castle of Knights, and that's actually where we get our 100 meals every
And they do
year.
their meal the same day, right? Or the day before?
I think they do a lot of the prep before,
Right.
and then yes, they're still doing the meal that day, and they feed something like 800 people.
Right.
They send
saw that in the
they
news.
send some out, which they do obviously for us. We have a couple of volunteers, Armand and Melanie Brochu, who live here in Westfield and have been going down and picking up those meals for us
Mm-hmm.
every Thanksgiving morning for as long as I've been on the job, which is 13 years, and long before that as well. So a shout out to Paul Soja and his team for doing the preparation, Armin and Melanie Brochu for getting the meals, and then my teams of
Your elves.
volunteer drivers, my elves, my Thanksgiving meal drivers. And this year they were Karen Casey. Karen works over at the Housing Authority.
Okay.
So thank you to Karen and her good friend Barbara Rogers. This is their second year delivering. John Goda, who is the athletic director over at Pope Francis High School. John
Okay.
is a good friend of ours, and he was teamed up with my husband, Gary Gorman. So thank you to my dear husband, Gary, for delivering. Gary figures the only way he's going to see me on a holiday is to actually come to work with me. So thank you to Gary. Dina and Rick Meter, who have been delivering for us for many years. The Noblet family, Karen Noblet's two sons, Jake and Nick, who delivered meals. Ray Rivera and his family, who have been with us now for, I think Ray and his family have been with us for at least 5 years. So thank you to all of you. And also, thank you to the Kiwanis Youth Service Clubs and Sylvia Abar for coordinating that program. They make Thanksgiving cards
Okay.
for
You
all
need a
of
drink of
those.
water, so
I
I'll
do.
talk for a second.
Okay.
I could
Thank
tell
you.
it was
I do.
getting worse and worse and worse, and I was like, yeah. So Thanksgiving, I was with family. I actually got to go with family. I kind of missed. There used to be
I
a
heard that.
fundraiser, the Turkey Bowl.
Yes, we are friends in West Springfield.
Yes.
Yes.
And this is the first
No
year
longer.
he couldn't. He just after 10 years he retired it.
Yep.
And I kind of missed that waking up on Thanksgiving morning. I'm like, oh, I gotta watch the parade. I'm
Yeah,
like,
it's not the same.
No, it's not.
I know.
You kind of miss those. It started to become a tradition. I hope he brings it back in a couple of years.
You know, it's hard to break those traditions.
Yeah.
And speaking of traditions that are going to be broken, for those of you who have not gotten the word on this, this year's
that's right. You told
this
me.
year's
yeah.
holiday gala will be our final holiday gala. So that will be a week from tomorrow over at Toccoa Country Club. We still have some tickets available, and we can sell tickets until the end of the day tomorrow. Then I have to give my final count to
Yeah, you gotta
Toccoa.
get a numbers count,
So,
yeah.
Yep. So it's $20 a ticket. It's a great time. We have dancing to live music. Richie Mitnick's on the keyboard from 11 to noon. And then we have, we're going to have the luncheon this year is Yankee pot roast. So we're doing some good comfort food. We have Yankee pot roast and butternut squash and green beans almondine. And we have chocolate mousse for dessert. We have a fruit cup. And then we have Richie Mitnick and the Sounds of Music singers. Brad Shepard will be performing. Ethel Lee, Peter Annoni, Dave Colucci, and Joe Samurai. And that's a great lineup. So they'll be performing for about 45 minutes or so. And then we have our famous raffle. Carol Shannon is in charge once again of our raffle and collecting prizes and so forth. And we have lots of them. And so it's a good time. And this is it, folks. So, if you've never been, it's really a lot of fun. So you need to come down to the Senior Center, get your ticket. Sandra Tracy and Linda Murphy, my greeters, are selling tickets. They're $20 a piece, and you get a big bang for your buck. And I want to actually, which I don't think I've done this yet, but I do want to throw a shout out to our sponsors for that event. The way that we're able to keep the cost down is we do have 3 sponsors, 2 diamond sponsors. That would be Fortune Adams Funeral Services, and Jim Adams, God bless him, has been sponsoring this event for every year that we've done it. And also G&E, Westfield, Whip City Fiber, Westfield Gas and Electric, Whip City Fiber. Those are our 2 diamond sponsors.
Yeah, and they help subsidize the cost.
Absolutely. They keep the costs down. They keep it affordable for our seniors. And then also Armbrook Village is our gold sponsor. So thank you to our 3 sponsors. And I have to also shout out to some of our city councilors because we also as one of our raffle gifts, and this is not a separate raffle. This is just part. If you buy your raffle tickets, you're all in and you have a chance to win our money bouquet, which is worth $210. That seems like a strange amount, except that I make up the flowers, and the flowers are, it's 3 bills per flower. So it never comes out to like an even 200 number. Or 100. Yeah. So it's $210. We had 4 city councilors who sponsored that. Our liaison to the COA, Ralph Figge, Brent Bean, John Beltrandi, and Bob Paul. So thank you to those city councilors who sponsored that. So
pitched in a couple of bills.
Yeah, they did pitch in a couple of bills, and I really appreciate that. We certainly appreciate that, and the seniors do. So lots of opportunities for prizes. And one final thing on that, our Friends of the Westfield Senior Center group every year at the gala also raffles off a lottery holiday decoration. This year it's a tree.
Like
it's a card
tree.
Holder tree, which is really kind of cool. We have $100 worth of lottery tickets on there, and I can tell you that the winner of that always wins money. I mean, they always, and usually it's at least a few $100s.
Nice.
Sometimes more. Yeah, so lots of good times. So come on down to the Senior Center. You only have 2 days, today and tomorrow, to get your tickets. So please do that. $20 for our we're calling it the grand finale holiday gala.
There you go.
All right. So before we take our first break, we need to do at least one birthday. So our one of our famous birthdays today is November 28th, is Barbara Morgan. I always throw the astronauts on there for Pete. So Barbara Morgan is an educator astronaut who turns 67 years old today. She was born in Fresno, California. And here's an interesting story, Pete. She's a grammar school teacher, and she was the backup candidate for the NASA Teacher in Space program in 1985.
Okay.
Remember what happened in 1985?
Yes. It happened on my birthday.
Did
in 86.
It really?
Yeah.
The chosen teacher, Krista McAuliffe, died in the 1986 Challenger explosion.
January 28th.
So Barbara Morgan, who was the backup, was not on there. Morgan continued with the astronaut corps, finally serving on the Endeavour for an 11-day mission in 2007.
She actually did the original lessons that Krista McAuliffe wrote.
Did she really?
Yes.
Well, she was then making her the first teacher astronaut to complete a space mission.
She did the original lessons.
Oh, no kid. That I did not know.
Yeah.
But see, our space junkie over here, our space trivia guy, well, he's definitely a trivia guy, but add that little space component.
Yep.
Pete Coles came up with that one. So happy birthday to Barbara Morgan, who is 67 years old today. And do we have the music for that one, Pete?
Yeah.
All right. So I'm so excited that I found this music because it's Telstar. I have always thought this was the coolest piece of music. It sounds very spacey to me.
It's an instrumental, isn't it?
It is an instrumental. I could not remember the name of it, though. So I'm trying to find this piece of music. I've got the tune going in my head. I used to teach aerobics dance many, many years ago. And we did a number to this song. And I'm thinking, what is it? All I could think of was Space Odyssey. And I'm like, no, I don't even think it has the word space in it, which it doesn't. It's called Telstar is the name of this.
After the original satellite.
Yeah, and exactly. And it's done by the Tornadoes. So we got it. We're going to listen to this. This is in honor of Barbara Morgan's birthday.
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by the Barnes & Noble College Bookstore in the Ely Campus Center, offering Westfield State t-shirts, sweatshirts, and gift merchandise, all of your academic needs, and offering textbook materials in new, used, ebook, and rental formats. Available at the bookstore on campus or online at westfieldstate.bncollege.com. Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by the Dunkin' Donut Shops of Westfield and the Sardinia family. It's nice to know that even as the world changes, Dunkin' Coffee remains the same at 7 convenient locations throughout Westfield.
We thank the generosity of our underwriters. For more information, please contact the Westfield State Foundation at 413-572-8646.
It's Tuesday morning from 6 till 8. Wow, it's Tuesday with Bob Plass.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB.
Live from the campus of Westfield State University, this is 89.5 FM, WSKB, Westfield.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 6:19. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM, radio for the Westfield masses. It is Wednesday, November 28th, the last Wednesday of the month, which means that following my show at 8 o'clock, we have Harry Rock and Rock on Westfield, and I understand his guest this morning from Pete will be Bob Plass.
Correct.
Talking about Decemberfest.
And other WOW activities.
And upcoming things going on with WOW. And there are a lot of things going on.
Yeah.
I would suggest that
they have the festival of tree. They're calling some sort of tree thing.
Yeah, the festival of trees. Is that
Tree
Jubilee?
Tree Jubilee.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I'm going to go buy some raffle tickets for that one because maybe I'll win a tree and then I won't have to set one up every year.
There you go. And I understand Marion Krause and Barbara Wojcik are volunteers extraordinaire who did our Veterans Christmas tree.
Right.
Did one of the tree that's in the window. I haven't seen it yet, but I will be heading down that way.
The Boys and Girls Club has a tree. There's a couple places that did trees.
Yeah, so nice. And I guess Patrick Berry did a nice spread in the Westfield News yesterday or the day before on the trees, and there were photos, and some of them have like tickets associated with them and all kinds of things hanging from these trees.
Gift certificates.
Yeah, gift certificates. Like a gift certificate tree. That's kind of cool.
One of them was, I think the Boys and Girls Club has, you can rent the place out for a party or something.
Oh, yes. I think Bill was talking about that yesterday.
Yep.
Kind of a neat deal for sure. And, it doesn't have to be a kid's party. I mean, think about it.
Adult
It's a
Swim.
space. Sure, absolutely. All right, so let's talk about some other famous birthdays today. November 28th, on this day in 1929 in Dallas County, Alabama, Frederick Reese was born. Because he's 89 years old today. He's a civil rights activist with an interesting story. Frederick Reese received his doctorate of divinity from Selma University. And on March 7th, 1965, Reese and more than 600 other activists marched over the Edmund Pettus Bridge in Selma, Alabama. The day would live in infamy as Bloody Sunday after protesters were beaten and sprayed with tear gas per the orders of then Alabama Governor George Wallace. Following the violence that day, the majority of the marchers congregated at the Brown Chapel Church, where Reese spoke to the crowd. Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. called Reese from Atlanta with news that he was organizing a march involving ministers from all over the country. And on March 21st, 1965, more than 50,000 people marched the 50 miles from Selma's Brown Chapel Church to Alabama's state capital, Montgomery. Reese marched hand in hand with Dr. Martin Luther King, and his front row presence made him a symbol of and leader in the civil rights movement. The event prompted President Lyndon B. Johnson to ratify the Voting Rights Act on August 6, 1965. The law worked to undo state-sanctioned obstacles that prevented African Americans from registering to vote, especially in the South. And I feel like we're sort of living this all over again, and that was 1965. So happy birthday to Frederick D. Reese, civil rights activist, 89 years old today. It is also the birthday of Berry Gordy Jr., entrepreneur, producer, director. And I'm so thankful
Promoter.
promoter. And I'm so glad that Berry Gordy Jr. was had a birthday today, because it gave me lots of great songs to choose from.
Sure.
He was born November 28th, 1929. He's also 89 years old today. He was born in Detroit, Michigan. He founded Motown Records in 1959. The 1960s and 70s saw popular artists who Gordy developed, including the Marvelettes, Mary Wells, the Temptations, the Supremes, the Jackson 5, Stevie Wonder, and Marvin Gaye. And
to name a few.
Exactly. I was just going to say, to name a few, and that list is not inclusive. So, man, did that give me some great music to choose from. Gordy directed his artists to create what became known as the Motown sound, which featured repeating choruses and a mix of gospel, rhythm and blues, and pop that combined to form memorable melodies. The civil rights movement, and this kind of dovetailed back into Reese.
Right.
The civil rights movement of the 1960s also affected Gordy's work. Not only did he release Martin Luther King Jr.'s Great March to Freedom and Great March to Washington speeches, Gordy believed that white audiences would now accept African American stars. In the 1960s, the Supremes achieved the kind of crossover success that Gordy had dreamed of. Their number one pop hits included Baby Love, Stop in the Name of Love, and You Can't Hurry Love. Changing tastes and a loss of focus led to Motown's decline, and Gordy sold the company in 1988, but he was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame that same year. So happy 89th birthday to Berry Gordy Jr., founder of Motown Records. And finally, it is also the birthday of singer-songwriter Randy Newman. He was born 1943 on this date in Los Angeles, California. He's 75 years old today. Randy Newman scored his first and only major pop hit with the 1977's song entitled Short People. In the early 80s, his song I Love L.A. was a minor success, but he began working on film soundtracks in the 1970s. And since then, he's won awards for his musical contributions to such movies as The Natural in 1984. That was the one about the baseball player. A Bug's Life in 1999, Monsters, Inc. in 2001, and Toy Story 3 in 2010. So happy 75th birthday to singer-songwriter Randy Newman. So lots of great birthdays today. Today is also November 28th, so we have a national day, which is not related to food, Pete. So you'll be
good,
kind of happy about that. But You know what? This one I think is a really important one. It is National Package Protection Day. And what on earth, you're probably thinking, is National Package Protection Day? Well, when I tell you, it's all going to make sense. National Package Protection Day is the Wednesday after Thanksgiving. It encourages homeowners to stay alert and protect their homes against package theft, which becomes more and more prevalent during the holidays. This year's Package Protection Day falls on November 28th, so be on the lookout. The internet has made it easier to find deals and have packages shipped straight to our homes. But this has also made it easier for thieves to snatch our deliveries right from our doorsteps. Cyber Monday in particular is a big online shopping day where most purchases are shipped directly to the buyer's home. With the advent of Black Friday and Cyber Monday, there became a need for a day that raises awareness of package theft and helps homeowners protect themselves against thieves. And just like that, Package Protection Day was born. So spread the word, especially throughout your neighborhood, about Package Protection Day so your community is alert during the holidays. And, so some of the things that are helpful for this, because especially for those of us who work, you have packages delivered and they're delivered onto your front porch, and there they sit for all the world to see until you come home from work. So might be helpful if you have a neighbor. We have a neighbor next door to us who's retired, and he's just wonderful about those kinds of things.
Yeah.
If we say, hey, Norm, can you just kind of keep an eye out if you see the UPS truck come, if there's a package there, especially if it's first thing in the morning or, earlier in the morning, we're not home until later, can you grab that for us? And the other thing too is make sure you check. Like I'm pretty religious about that. When I come home from work during the holidays season and I've been ordering things, go right to your front porch or wherever your packages are delivered and check to see if there's a package sitting out there, because what you don't want to do is it got delivered today and I didn't realize it until 2 days from now, and now it's gone. So
yeah, and the other thing they were talking about
careful.
Electronic measures with the new door cams and things like that.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
Things you can do.
Yep, there are things that we can definitely do. Some people have things shipped to their, to their work if that's an option for you. So
some people who get a lot of packages buy those. Buy the front the things that you put for like lawn stuff.
Yes, yeah.
And they have a combination padlock, and they give the padlock combination to the UPS guy.
Okay.
Or the
and
FedEx
just put them in there. So
they unlock it, put the stuff in there, and lock it back up.
Yeah, there you go. So there, again, there are certainly ways to be careful, but just I think part of it is just being aware of it.
Yeah.
So before we take our next break, speaking of packages and thieves and not nice things, I do have a story that I need to share. We've been sharing this story at the senior center. We had an unfortunate incident happen to one of our seniors the other night. And I think this is so important for everyone, but especially our older adults who tend to be a little bit more vulnerable physically. So we had one of our seniors who lives in senior housing who had someone knock on her door at 3:00 in the morning.
Ooh.
And her first thought was she does have a neighbor who has some cognitive challenges, and so she thought it was him. And which is what got her out of bed in the first place. And she also always leaves a light on at night because I wasn't sure if she was targeted, but we don't think so. We think it was an opportunity type thing. Anyway, she got out of bed because she thought it was her neighbor, but did not open the door right away. It said, "Who's there?" And this man said, "I've been in an accident and I need to use your phone."
Oh.
And she opened,
strike two.
And she opened the door and she let him in, and she started to turn around to say the phone is right there, and he pushed her down, put his hand over her mouth, and said, "You're going to show me where your money is, or I'm going to kill you." Mm-hmm. And so she had, when he knocked her down, she, gashed her head, and there were some injuries through the knockdown. Thankfully, she didn't break any bones. She's pretty healthy for the senior. She's not as older and frailer as some of ours. Anyway, she gave him what money she had, which was less than $100. And he left, thankfully, didn't hurt her anymore. But, she did. In many respects, she was very lucky. And of course, she called the police right away. And, they don't... I was trying to figure out if she was targeted, but she said she had another neighbor who said he or she had thought that they heard the doorbell ring. And, you're kind of in a sound sleep. And, it was interesting because this story, of course, is being passed all over the senior center. They were quite upset about it, as we all were. And, somebody said to me yesterday, "Why did she open the door?" I said, "All right, let's put this in perspective. You're in a sound sleep. Mm-hmm. Somebody's knocking or ringing your doorbell. Your first instinct, you're half out of it. Your first instinct is to think, oh my gosh, somebody's in trouble. Okay. In this case, she was thinking it was her neighbor. So that's what got her out of bed in the first place. And then, when the person on the other side of the door says, I've been in an accident, I need to use your phone. So we again, you're kind of half out of it. You're not really thinking clearly, right. Oh my gosh, somebody's in trouble. Because if you're thinking
clearly, said, "Where's the accident? I'll call the police for you."
That's what we have now talked to the seniors for the last 48 hours. Yeah. That's the mantra. The mantra is, if somebody is really in trouble, you say, "Fine, stay right there. I'm calling 911. They will be here in less than 3 minutes."
And you'll hear the footsteps.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
As they run away.
Exactly. So again, we're telling everyone, and this isn't just. I think this was in a senior complex, so clearly they were, again, sort of targeting that population of, kind of
soft targets, as they call them.
Yeah, exactly. So please, please, please be careful, it's especially during this holiday season. We've got all kinds of, it's a beautiful time, but it's also...
Well, a lot of people learn from one person's misfortune. That's usually how it works.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, that's our safety story for the day. It is 6:32. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield masses. And in honor of the birthday of Berry Gordy, the founder of Motown Records, we're going to listen to the Marvelettes singing "Please, Mr. Postman."
Oh, yes, wait a minute, Mr. Postman. Wait, hey, 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 Mr. Postman. Word to
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by Bay State Dental. Comprehensive dentistry at 14 convenient locations in Springfield, Chicopee, Longmeadow, West Springfield, Belchertown, East Longmeadow, Ludlow, Northampton, Greenfield, and Wilbraham, as well as 29 Broad Street in Westfield. Bay State Dental makes it a priority to help you achieve and maintain the healthy smile you deserve. On the web at baystatedental.com.
We thank the generosity of our underwriters. For more information, please contact the Westfield State Foundation at 413-572-8646. Discussions of local politics, events, happenings, and miscellany potpourri. Ken's Den, Tuesday, 8 to 10. Live from the campus of Westfield State University, this is 89.5 FM, WSKB, Westfield.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 6:36. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM, radio for the Westfield masses. It is Wednesday, November 28th. It is the last Wednesday of the month. So we are really rounding out November, heading toward December. So speaking
less than a month away from Christmas. I got to get my Christmas counter back up.
Yes, I was going to say. I was just going to say, Pete usually has the counter, so we'll work on that. The December issue of the Voice of Experience newsletter, our monthly newsletter that the Council on Aging produces, is out.
Streets.
It hit the streets on Monday. Thank you to my official deliverer, Barbara Coleman, who was all over the city getting this out. And obviously, we have lots going on at the Senior Center during the month of December. So, but before we even get there, we do have a few announcements to make for some things that are going on right now this week. So tomorrow, we are losing at the Senior Center one of our longtime staff members who's going to be retiring. Fran Aguda, who is our companion program coordinator, will be retiring. Her last day is Friday, this Friday, which is November 30th. 26 years of service at the Council on Aging, which is mind-boggling to me. And Fran has done yeoman's work in both the companion program coordinator as well as she's kind of the unofficial outreach coordinator. And in fact, Fran has done so much that with her retirement, I'm actually creating a job and a half, because that's really how much Fran has done during the time that she's been with us. But first of all, let's help to honor her. Tomorrow morning, we have an open house from 9 to 11 a.m. We have literally opened this up to the entire city. So anybody, Fran's current clients, all got invitations. Her volunteers, past and present, have gotten invitations. The entire city, all the city employees, and a lot of the agencies that Fran has worked so closely with over the years. Obviously, of course, Highland Valley Elder Services and Carson Center and the Food Bank, and just, all kinds of programs. And we've invited their employees. So tomorrow morning from 9 to 11, we'll have coffee and tea and pastries and morning refreshments and so forth. And you are all invited to attend. I can also announce that her replacement for the companion program coordinator piece of her job is also someone who's well known to most of us. She has been working at the Westfield Athenaeum for over 20 years and retired last week from the Athenaeum.
I knew she couldn't stay out of it.
And is taking this part-time job, and that is Joyce Peregrine. Joyce ran the outreach program for the Athenaeum for a number of years. And what's really kind of fun about this whole thing is Joyce was saying when she compared her clients through the Athenaeum outreach program with Fran's clients in the companion program, there's an overlap currently of 80 people. So 80 people that she already knows.
Right?
Yep, that have already done her program and are also in Fran's program. So out of Fran's 200 and some clients,
I knew she couldn't stay retired. I knew it. There was no doubt in my mind.
There wasn't even. It's not even a matter, Pete, of staying retired. She actually was never retired because her last day at the Athenaeum was, I guess it was Wednesday or Friday. I'm not really sure which. Whether she worked the day after Thanksgiving, and Monday morning at 9 o'clock, she was being trained by Fran Aguda for the companion program coordinator position. So we're really delighted and excited to welcome Joyce Peregrine to that position, and then the outreach coordinator position, which is a newly created position. session. That person will begin for us on December 10th. So we'll stay tuned. You'll hear more about her. But right now we're just focusing on Fran. So again, that's tomorrow morning from 9 to 11. Please come and wish Fran well in her retirement. We already talked about the holiday gala. So again, remember that the last day to get tickets for that is tomorrow. And the gala itself is next Thursday from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. at Toccoa Country Club. Ticket price is $20. You can get up to 4 tickets per person. So if you want to get, kind of tables of 8. So if you want to kind of get a half a table together, you can certainly do that. Also, we have the poinsettia plant sale going on. This is Westfield This is a fundraiser through the Westfield Technical Academy. So let me give you the history of the poinsettia sale at the Senior Center. So when the first year we opened, which was 3 years ago in the new center, Nate came down from Westfield Technical Academy and said, would you be willing to sell some poinsettia plants for us? It's a fundraiser. Yeah, for the horticulture department. It's a fundraiser. So I said, sure, okay. And I think the first year they probably dropped off like maybe 12 plants, something like that.
Because there's some at City Hall.
Yes, there are some at City Hall. Well, our 12 plants were gone in like 2 hours. So, we said, well, can we get more? Yeah, exactly. More. Nate, we need more. So each year that we've done this, we're like one of their biggest sellers. So we've gotten more and more plants. And the plants come in 3 sizes.
Yeah, there's a monster one.
The small it's called small, medium, and large. And in my opinion, it's like large, extra large, and ginormous. I mean, the big ones are huge. And it was funny because we did a training. We had a training for professionals at the Senior Center yesterday in the afternoon. It was through Mass Association of Councils on Aging. And the woman who did the training, Patty Smith, we have them all displayed. And she said,
yeah, I heard about that one.
And she said, can anybody buy one of these? And we said, yeah, absolutely, because we had one. I think we had one big one left, and she said it's $20 for the big one. She said, I cannot believe this. I mean, if you bought this in a florist, it'd be like $50.
Right? Yeah, no.
So she bought the last of the big ones. But the funny thing is we have one. It's all white. It's beautiful. And I thought, oh no, we do have another big one. No, it's in the container marked medium, because the containers are if it's a red foil container, it's a medium.
Yep.
$8. I'm telling you, it is gorgeous, and it's probably
I think last year I bought that instead of a tree.
Oh my! Well, you could use it instead of a tree. So anyway,
because I didn't feel like setting up a tree last year.
Well, they're beautiful, and we still have some at the Senior Center week because Nate's given us more. We did sell all of the cyclamens. We had these really cool cyclamen plants, and those we had 4 of those. Those are gone, but we still have some of the small and medium. And again, the mediums are quite large, and the smalls are a good size. So $6, $15, and $20. So come on down to the Senior Center and get your poinsettias, because I don't think they're going to last all that long. And right next to our poinsettia table display, we have Westfield Public Safety is doing a coat drive. So we are a drop-off point. So if you have new or gently used coats of all sizes, so it can be children's coats, adults' coats, anything, winter coats, we are collecting them. The box is right in the foyer area when you come in, right across from the greeter's desk, right next to all the poinsettia plants. So buy a plant, drop off a coat. And we will be collecting those coats between now and January 1st. So during the entire month of December, they will help keep people in Westfield warm. So we're keeping it local. There are collection boxes. I think there are actually 2 at City Hall, 1 at the police station, 1 at the fire station, and then 1 up at the tech center where dispatch is, where public safety is. So anyway, that's the coat drive. So feel free. But the Senior Center, easy place to drop it off. We're an easy location for you. You don't have to worry about parking or anything. Pull right up.
It's true.
Yeah, we got 5-minute parking right in the front. If you're just dropping something off right in the horseshoe, you can pull up, and the box is right in the door. So please feel free to do that. All right, how am I doing on time here? We're doing well.
6:43.
Okay, so we'll do a couple of more Senior Center announcements, and then we'll take a break, and then we've got all kinds of other announcements of all kinds of other things going on in the city.
Your guest is prompt. She's early. So.
Oh, good. Okay, well, that's perfect. All right, so because we like to party at the Senior Center, the more the better, especially in the month of December. It's all one big party.
We should install a disco ball in the great room. I'm serious.
Oh, my goodness. Wait, I kind of agree with you, Pete. Okay, so we have the Jingle Bell Brunch coming up on Thursday, December 20th, and our entertainment this year here is none other than Noah Liss. You have to say that with your hand over your heart because he's got like groupies at the senior center who just love him. So Noah Liss will be performing beginning at 11 o'clock.
Send me a calendar reminder on that one. I'll come over and bust his chops.
Oh, you should. You should definitely come over. So it's Thursday, December 20th. So it's the week before Christmas. Our menu, it's a brunch. So our menu will include quiche Lorraine with broccoli, breakfast sausages, home fries, fruit and yogurt parfait, and chocolate raspberry mousse cake. Are you kidding me? $5 for your tickets. They must be purchased in advance. I'm telling you, these tickets are going to sell out, I think, in a couple of days. And tickets go on sale Tuesday, December 4th at 9 a.m. You may purchase no more than 4 tickets per person. So tickets go on sale next Tuesday, 9 o'clock for the Jingle Bell Brunch. Also, next Tuesday, same day, December 4th, we are doing, back by popular demand, we're going to do another insurance mini fair. And again, this goes back to many of the older adults who utilize the services at Bay State Noble Hospital, received a letter about 6 weeks ago alerting to them to the fact that beginning in 2019, so that's beginning January 1, Fallon Health, the senior plan, and United Healthcare, the senior plan, will no longer contract with our community hospital here. So if you have those insurances, you would not be able to utilize the services at Bay State Noble. Right. So you would have to switch if you choose to do that. So we had a lot of seniors who were very upset about that because they didn't know what their options were. So we held an insurance mini fair with Health New England and Tufts at the Senior Center earlier this month. It was such an overwhelming success that we've added another one for those who couldn't make the first one or didn't get in to see the representatives because it was kind of crowded. So on Tuesday, December 4th from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. And we've also added Blue Cross Blue Shield to that. They couldn't make the first one, but they're going to do this one. So we'll have representatives from Health New England, Tufts, and Blue Cross Blue Shield. All of them have contracts with Bay State Noble Hospital. So if you're interested, and there's no pressure here, folks. You don't have to sign up. You don't have to do anything. You can just come and get the information and then kind of weigh out, it's an informational. If you want to sign up, you can do it that day. But if you just want to come and find out what your options are, you can do that as well. So that will be at the Senior Center next Tuesday, December 4th from 10 to 1. And also as just a coming attraction, Whip City Fiber will be having another drop-in center. Again, they did a drop-in session. They did that. They did one in October. So successful that they were going to wait until after the first of the year, but they said that was so successful they'd like to do it again in December. So we said absolutely. So they will be at the Senior Center on December 11th, which is a Tuesday, from 1 to 2:30 p.m. We've done the drop-in sessions in the morning. So we kind of want to give, people who might have other commitments in the morning an opportunity. So we're going to do it from 1 to 2:30. And we do that in the Creativity Center. So it's a drop-in. You don't have to sign up for. Same thing for the mini fair, insurance mini fair. No sign-ups. Just come on over. All right. It is 6:48. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield masses. Again, this song is in honor of the birthday of Berry Gordy, founder of Motown Records, and it's Can't Hurry Love by the Supremes.
I need love to ease my mind. I need to find someone to call mine. But Mama said you can't hurry love. No, you just have to wait. She said love don't come easy. It's a game of give and take. You can't hurry love. No, you just have to wait. You gotta trust, give it time, no matter how long it takes. But how many heartaches No love don't come easy, but I keep on waiting, anticipating for that soft voice to talk to me at night, for some tender arms to hold me tight. I keep waiting, I keep on waiting, but it ain't easy, it ain't easy. But mama said you can't hurry love, no, you just have to wait. She said trust, give it time, no matter how long it takes, you can't hurry love, no, you just have to wait.
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by Commercial Distributing Company of Westfield. Now in its third generation of family ownership, Commercial is one of the premier beverage distributors of Western Massachusetts. The Plasek family and the staff of Commercial Distributing wishes you good times throughout the year and urges you to drink responsibly.
Support for community radio on WSKB is provided by Betts Plumbing and Heating Supply Company, an independent, family-owned wholesaler serving Westfield for over 50 years, specializing in plumbing, heating, and industrial piping supplies. On the web at bettsplumbing.com or at 14 Coleman Avenue in Westfield.
We thank the generosity of our underwriters. For more information, please contact the Westfield State Foundation at 413-572-8646.
Discussions of local politics, events, happenings, and miscellany potpourri. That's what you'll find on Ken's Den, Tuesdays from 8 till 10.
Live from the campus of Westfield State University, this is 89.5 FM, WSKB, Westfield.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 6:52. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM, radio for the Westfield masses. It is Wednesday, November 28th. My name is Tina Gorman. I'm your Wake Up Wednesday host, and I'm joined right now by Pete Coles, producer of the show and chairman of the board, we like to call him. Good morning again, Pete. So I have not let people know that second hour we have, we've had a rotation. A rotation. We feel like this is part of the PA program rotation here at Westfield State University. So we've had rotating PA students, physician assistant students in here over the last month or so, discussing various topics. Mm-hmm. And so that we have another PA student joining us in the second hour, Deirdre Ketchen, and she's going to be talking about eye health and eye diseases and so forth. So I think that'll be interesting for our listeners, and they've just shared a wealth of information. So before we get there, we have a few other announcements, both at the Senior Center and citywide. I do want to let people know that we do have, and this is one of those topics that you don't usually talk about on the radio or at the dinner table, but incontinence among older adults can be a huge problem, and we have incontinence.
Kenny talked about it.
Did he?
Mine.
Well, we have incontinence supplies available. We do get donations. We actually just had a huge donation yesterday of a size small. We don't usually have a big demand for small. It's like a size small pull-ups on the incontinence supplies, but we do right now. So if you have a need or know somebody who does, just come on down to the Senior Center, and Carol Shannon is in charge of our medical equipment loan program, and we include incontinence supplies. We also have the bed pads, like the Chucks pads, the square pads, either for the bed or for a chair or wheelchair. And, folks, these things are so expensive when you buy them in the store. So we do have some donations, and we are happy to share those. They're not doing us any good sitting on our shelves, so come on by the Senior Center. Also, we have a group of chess players. This is one of my favorite Senior Center activities. We've had the chess players with us even from the old Senior Center. They're the quietest of all the activities. They're in the creativity center.
Are you typecasting again?
Oh my goodness! You go, but you don't even know they're in there because they are. I mean, chess. Obviously, there's a lot of thought to the game and not a lot of chatting during the game. Mm-hmm. But they are at the Senior Center Monday afternoons from 1 to 3 p.m. If you if you're an avid chess player or if you've never played it, they will do instruction. Les Hutton, who's a retired professor from Westfield State University, heads up we call it Chess with Les. every Monday afternoon from 1 to 3. And so no prior experience is necessary. The chess sets are provided. The lessons are tailored to the participants' abilities and goals. The benefits of chess, I feel like this is something that I need to do, especially when I retire, because the benefits of chess are it helps to improve memory, concentration, logical thinking, and creativity. But most importantly, it's an enjoyable way to exercise your brain. So come on over to the Senior Center and check that out. All right, so now some things going on around the city. Now, I know Harry Rock, Mr. 350th over here, is going to talk about this, but I'm going to do an announcement and then Harry can fill you in on more detail. But they are doing, the 350th committee is doing a historical lecture series Wednesdays at 6:30 p.m.
Correct.
And the first one starts tonight. And it is called City of Westfield Celebrations 1869, 1919, and 1969. It is the presentation will be at Westfield State University right here on campus at Scanlon Hall in the banquet room.
Yep.
And it's presented by Dr. Robert Brown and Bruce Cordes. So this should be very, very interesting. And again, I know Harry will have more information on his show. He comes on at 8 o'clock when I'm finished. But it's the historical lecture series. And just to give you a little preview, the next one will be December 12th, which is in 2 weeks. And that one is entitled Whips of Westfield, The Rise and Decline of an American Industry. That will be presented at the Westfield Athenaeum by Bruce Cordes. So, and by the way,
Bruce is on the mend. He had surgery, emergency surgery.
I did not know that.
He posted saying he was going to be in Bay State for a couple days, and he prepared all the slides for this lecture tonight.
Okay.
And he said he's going to watch the video afterwards. So.
Okay. Well, Bruce, good wishes for healing for you. And Bruce is actually going to be doing some presentations at the Senior Center after the first of the year, because he is aware of the fact that some of the seniors don't drive at night and wouldn't be able to attend the series at night. So he's going to...
we're going to try to videotape all of them as well. So,
well, if you don't make it there, I mean, that would just, know that we'll be doing some at the Senior Center as well.
Yep.
Also, today is the last Wednesday of the month, and that means the Alzheimer's Support Group meets at Armbrook Village. Our good friends Beth Cordillo up at Armbrook. Last Wednesday of the month at 6 p.m. If you just let them know you're coming, it's 568-0000. They do serve light refreshments. And for anyone this is for caregivers. It's not for people with Alzheimer's or related dementias, but for their caregivers. So if you are a family member, a good friend, just want the support. But
they do have people that are taking care of the patients.
Yes, they do. You can bring your loved one up, and they will kind of keep them occupied. Yes, they'll have an activity for them. But just let Beth know you're coming, and if you are bringing someone, that you're bringing someone. So that is tonight at 6 o'clock. We also have the New England Brass, which is the senior choir of the First Church, directed by Alan Taylor. They'll be doing a community carol festival on Saturday, December 1st. So that's this Saturday at 4 p.m. at the First Congregational Church, which is the church on Broad Street. It's 18 Broad Street. Free admission. Donations, of course, are always welcome. And it is sponsored by the Westfield Cultural Council. So again, that's a community carol festival this Saturday, December 1st at 4 p.m. That sounds just like a really nice, Christmassy holiday activity program at 4 o'clock. So right in our downtown.
Saturday?
This Saturday, December 1st at 4 p.m.
That'll kick off Wow's Day then. Because Wow's the Lantern Light Parade's at 6.
Yep.
And then the tree lighting right after that.
So this is at 4 o'clock. So you can do everything.
Right.
You can do
it's
it all
downtown. Sure.
It's all downtown. You can do it all. Also coming up, the farmers market. We have a couple of you think farmers market. Good grief! It's almost December, but they do some indoor farmers markets at the Church of the Atonement.
And it's more like a holiday craft fair.
It's everything. It's.
There's still some farmer stuff.
Yes, they said we'll have, as they did all summer, they'll feature 25 to 30 local vendors and crafters selling all sorts of fresh produce and other products. So the location is the Church of the Atonement, which is 36 Court Street, and then the date for the next one is December 8th. So it's a week from Saturday, and the hours are 10 a.m. to 3 p.m., and I will be sure to make that announcement next week as well. But you can kind of put that on your calendar. And Saturday, we have a couple of things going on Saturday, the 15th of December, which again, I'm just going to mention because it's a little early for that. 2 craft fairs, both going on, both at the 2 assisted living facilities in Westfield. One is at the Arbors, the other is at Armbrook Village. So between the 2, you ought to be able to get lots of shopping done. Saturday, December 15th, the one at the Arbors is 10 a.m. to 3 p.m., and that's right here at 40 Court Street. They'll have vendors, crafts, a bake sale, lunch, and all proceeds for that one benefit the Westfield Senior Center. So, of course, we're plugging that one. And then our good friend Beth Cardillo up at Armbrook Village, they will be having one. It's the same time, 10 to 3. But that's plenty of time to hit both of them.
Sure.
They will have refreshments of hot chocolate, coffee, popcorn, and Christmas cookies. And they will be selling, they have snowmen, holiday wreaths. They'll have a candy table, books and a card table, crocheting and knit work table, holiday crafts from the residents at Armbrook, jewelry, handmade pocketbooks, homemade cards, posters, stuffed animals, beaded necklaces, treasure boxes, and bookmarks. It's a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So that's on December 15th. And I'm going to let Harry talk more about the first night, which is coming up. And I know he's going to be doing that. So
Yeah.
I'm just going to mention Monday, December 31st, family friendly and fun first night celebration here in Westfield.
Are you going to come down and be part of the countdown show?
I am going to come down. I'm absolutely
At the
going to come
Children's
down.
Museum?
Yep, I'm going to come down. And as a matter of fact, I saw Patrick Berry last week. And of course, Patrick and I have breakfast every Wednesday after my show. So I was going to ask him, and because I forgot that Harry is going to be here. If they need me to volunteer for anything on first night, I'd be happy to do that.
I need volunteers.
You need volunteers?
I need help, yeah.
I will help you.
I'm going to need help.
Okay.
Because we're going to cover it on Channel 15 all day and then the fireworks and everything else. So
Okay.
I need help on that side.
Okay, we're there. I'm there. Maybe,
Cool.
and hopefully I can talk Gary into it too. I probably don't really have to talk to.
And you can
talk
join
him
the
into it.
countdown show because we're doing 69, 79, 89, 99, and 09.
I'm there. All right. So that is first night. It is 7:02. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield Masses. When we come back, second hour, we have Deirdre Ketchen with us. We're going to talk about all things eye related and vision related. We'll be back.
Westfield Gas and Electric, where they offer gigabit internet speed. Whip City Fiber, turning Westfield's neighborhoods into fiberhoods. On the web at whipcityfiber.com.
We thank the generosity of our underwriters. For more information, please contact the Westfield State Foundation at 413-592-5500 572-8646. Friday mornings is something different on 89.5 FM. It's JP's Talk About Town.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB.
Live from the campus of Westfield State University. This is 89.5 FM, WSKB, Westfield.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 7:06. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM. Radio for the Westfield Masses. It is Wednesday, November 28th, last Wednesday of the month, which means that following my show is Rock on Westfield with our good friend Harry Rock, who has the full-time job of planning the 350th anniversary for
Another
Westfield.
retiree who couldn't stay retired.
Yeah, I know. You know, that's the thing. It's like my brother is like that too. My brother retired from Procter & Gamble years ago and moved up to Bar Harbor, Maine, and then promptly ended up on every committee and appeal board and all kinds of stuff. Yeah, and it just does more work now than I think when he was working. And I suspect that I will follow suit somewhere down the run. But I'm not ready. People have asked me that. When are you going to retire? I have no idea. I still have a lot of work to do. Too many things that that I want to do. All right, so let's see. It is November 28th, end of November, heading into the holiday season. Did we get the countdown yet, Pete? Do we know how many days until Christmas?
26 days, 16 hours, 53 minutes, and 12 seconds.
All right, so start that shopping. All right, this
If you
morning.
haven't started by now, you're in trouble.
Yeah, exactly. No, I'm getting there. We're in good shape. All right, my guest this second hour is Deirdre Ketchen. Deirdre is a student at Westfield State University with the Physician Assistant Program. So welcome, Deirdre, to the program.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, we're excited to have you. And I have to say, I was telling Gary last night because my husband always asks me, so who's your guest tomorrow? So I said, I have another PA student coming on, which he said he thinks this is just great. He said, it's just, kind of out of the norm a little bit. And so far we've had, I think, 3 of the students on.
Yes.
And they've just been great. It's been a lot of fun. So Deirdre, we've started with all of the students, and I'm going to start with you doing the same thing, which is kind of give us a little bit of your background. Where are you? Are you local? Are you from this area? Did you come in from across the country or out of state? Why don't we start there? Where are you from originally?
Originally, I'm from Kentucky, Central Kentucky.
Oh my gosh, this is going to be so exciting. She's not local, so we have a new place to explore. So Kentucky.
Yes.
Okay, so did you grow up and go to high school and grammar school in Kentucky? Or had you moved by then?
I lived in Kentucky until I was about 12, then lived in California for a little bit, and then came back to this area to go to Simon's Rock in Berkshire County. That was where I went to college.
Oh, my gosh. So now what took you from Kentucky out to California? Was that dad's, some parents' job or military? Indeed. Or just job related?
Job related.
Okay. And then did that also bring you to Massachusetts, dad's job, or no, at that point, no?
No, I heard about Simon's Rock and came in, applied, interviewed, was accepted, and
okay. So I have to ask, so what was it about Simon's Rock College in the Berkshires that attracted? Because it's 3,000 miles from where you were living in California. And there are tons of colleges in California and between here and there. So what was it about Simon's Rock that was so appealing to you?
Well, the really cool thing about Simon's Rock and their mission is they're an early admission college. They're early entry.
Okay.
And back... We don't need to talk about how long ago it was, but
we can. I'm 61 and proud to say it, so you're not even close. Go ahead. Yeah.
All right. Well, at the time there weren't very many early admission programs.
Okay.
Simon's Rock was one of the first. They opened in the 60s, and and early education has been their mission, taking motivated high school students and moving them forward. So I was going to say, define early admission for us, because I'm not sure that the listeners know what that means, and I'm not really sure I know what that means. Oh, okay, sure. So for most students, they enter college after their 10th grade year, after their sophomore year of high school. They skip junior and senior year and go to Simon's Rock.
So how far did you go in high school?
Till my sophomore year.
Mm-hmm. So you did high school basically in 2 years. Is that right? Sort of.
It's more fair to say that I did 2 years of high school.
Okay.
And
Okay.
then, in a way, your first 2 years of college, regardless of where you go, there's a lot of repetition with your basic math, your basic social sciences, history, those sort of things. They're often a repeat between what you learn your junior and senior year of high school and your freshman and sophomore year
Yeah,
of college.
gotcha. Yep, got
so
it.
they decided to kind of condense.
Okay, so you came to Simon's Rock. So that explains why the 3,000 miles. So, now I'm assuming you were at Simon's Rock for 4 years.
Indeed.
Okay, and so what did you study at Simon's Rock?
Philosophy and religious theory.
Now that's really interesting because we had L.J. Gibb on last week, and he had gone to a Christian college and had also sort of studied, sort of that religious, and I just find that fascinating that both of you ended up in the same PA program at the same time. So when you finished at Simon's Rock, then what? What happened from there? Where did you go? Did you stay in Massachusetts or?
Well, my husband is originally from here.
Okay.
And after college, I sort of moved away to Texas, and he chased me. And
There you go, as a smart husband would do.
Yep, and talked me into marrying him, and we started a family. We stayed in Texas for about 10 years.
Now, whereabouts in
And,
Texas were you?
Central Texas. I like to live in the middle of my states, but I didn't get my wish when I came here.
There you go. Well, you're pretty close though. So what were you do now? Did you work after Simon's Rock? Did you work professionally after Simon's Rock?
I did. I entered the medical field. I worked in a couple clerical positions and then moved a little more clinically. And I spent the last 7 years in ophthalmology. I was an ophthalmic assistant.
And so hence the discussion, which I knew there had to be a connection there because when you and I met in my office last month or whatever, and we talked about sort of the topics that the students would be doing, and you jumped right on that, that I one, and I thought, okay, she's got a background there somewhere along the line, which is really interesting. And, it was funny because LJ Lesmore, which I think his name is so cool, Lesmore Alexander, so I kept calling him that last week, but he was he brought some interesting experience, and he made the statement when I asked him about his background. He said, well, I'm a non-traditional student, and my experience is that I'm starting to think the majority of the PA students are what would be in this day and age considered non-traditional. A traditional student, for those listening who don't know, would be somebody who went to undergraduate school and then went right into a graduate program, applied for and was accepted into a graduate program. I'm starting to think that certainly the students that we've seen come through the radio show, the PA students, they didn't do it. I didn't do it that way either. I mean, I did my undergraduate work and then went out in the field for 5 years and worked, and then went back to grad school when I found out what I didn't know. And I think that's a healthy way to do it when you sort of now know what you don't know,
Agreed.
and that's what you want to learn about. So that's awesome. So then you were in Texas, and so, okay, now then where? What happened after that?
Well, like I said, my husband's originally from here.
Right.
So we decided to move back.
Just to be closer to...
Exactly.
Now, where's your family now? Are they still in Kentucky or
They're
California?
still wandering.
They're
my
wandering,
parents
okay.
are now in Florida.
Okay.
And my siblings are in Kentucky.
Okay.
And I think all of them are listening live on the website. So
Awesome.
Hi,
And they're
guys.
all, there you go. Big shout out from your sister and your daughter. But all
I'll
at
give
least...
one if they want to see you, they can go to westfieldtv.org.
There
they
you
can
go.
actually see you too.
had I known that, I might not have agreed to do this.
There you go.
That's okay. Most people forget about it.
Yeah, it's not a big deal. So they're at least they're all on the East Coast. And your husband's family, what part of Massachusetts are they from? The western part, or?
We live in the very western Massachusetts. We live right next to the New York State
right
border.
near the border.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've got a bit of a commute to get to school here.
Yeah, we got snow last night. I saw you guys didn't.
We did not.
Yeah.
Knock on wood. I know, and I had seen all the weather reports yesterday, and even at some of the schools were closed yesterday. Not here. We had rain, but no snow. All right. So how long have you actually been back in Massachusetts now, Deirdre?
Let's see, probably about 7 years, 8 years.
Okay. And now kind of talk about how you ended up at Westfield State University in the physician assistant program. How did that happen? How was that decision made?
Well, I knew I'd been in medicine for a long time. I knew I wanted to stay in medicine.
Okay.
So it was a matter of finding where I fit best.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, I really think I want to move toward primary care.
Okay.
So I wanted something that was broad and something, I think my favorite thing about the PA profession is how portable it is. You have the opportunity for a lateral move. You're not locked into any one particular specialty.
Yep.
You can practice in any specialty and you can change specialties, which is something that doctors and nurse practitioners don't always have the freedom to do as easily.
Okay. Well, certainly I know that about physicians. I didn't know that as much about nurse practitioners. And I think that was one of the questions that I had asked Dana when she was here a few weeks ago about, kind of what's the difference between a physician assistant and a nurse practitioner in terms of what they can do or, legally or, just medically, professionally, what they can do. So then there are certainly some similarities and some overlap.
Absolutely, some overlaps.
But that's interesting. And you have children, you mentioned that?
I do.
How many
I
children?
Do. My daughter is 12 and my son is 15.
Nice. Wow. So are they supportive of mom back in school? That's
Oh my goodness, yes.
good. That's
Yes.
wonderful because that can be a little
Absolutely.
challenging.
I couldn't do it without
Yeah.
the support of my husband and my kids. It
Yeah.
absolutely wouldn't happen.
Yeah, my mom had done that when I was when my siblings and I. There were four of us. My oldest brother was off at college when my mother decided to go for her bachelor's degree, and so my brother, who's 4 years ahead of me, became sort of the cook, bottle washer, and everything. Because my dad did a lot of travel. He worked for the Defense Department, and at the time, it was during the Vietnam War. So my dad was gone a lot, on, working for the government on business. So it was my brother. And yeah, I think, it was, had it not been for my older brother, I'm not sure my mother would have made it through that program. So I'm sure your
Absolutely.
children are experiencing some of that as
Yeah,
well.
they do a lot around the house.
Perfect. All right. It is 7:17. My guest this morning is Deirdre Ketchen. She's a physician assistant student here at Westfield State University. We're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we're going to start to hone in on a little bit about her topic this morning, which is eye health. So we're going to listen to, what's my song for this one? Signed, Sealed, and Delivered. This is a two for Pete. So this is a Stevie Wonder number, and it's in honor of the birthday of Berry Gordy, Motown, as well as National Package Protection Day. We'll be back.
Like a fool, I went and stayed too long. I'm wondering if your love's still strong. Ooh, baby, here I am, signed, sealed, delivered, I'm yours. Then that time I went and said goodbye. Now I'm back and not ashamed to cry. Ooh, baby, here I am, signed, sealed, delivered, I'm yours. Here I am, baby. Oh, you got me feeling so in your hand. Here I am, baby. You got me feeling so in your hand. Hey, I've done a lot of foolish things that I really didn't mean. Yeah, didn't I? Oh, baby, seen a lot of things in this old world. When I touched them, there is nothing, girl. Ooh, baby, here I am, signed, sealed, delivered, I'm yours. I'm yours. Ooh, wait, baby, set my soul on fire. That's why I
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by the Barnes & Noble College Bookstore in the Ely Campus Center, offering Westfield State t-shirts, sweatshirts, and gift merchandise, all of your academic needs, and offering textbook materials in new, used, ebook, and rental formats. Available at the bookstore on campus or online at westfieldstate.bncollege.com. Support for community radio on WSKB is provided by Betts Plumbing and Heating Supply Company, an independent, family-owned wholesaler serving Westfield for over 50 years, specializing in plumbing, heating, and industrial piping supplies. On the web at bettsplumbing.com or at 14 Coleman Avenue in Westfield.
We thank the generosity of our underwriters. For more information, please contact the Westfield State Foundation at 413-572-8646. Friday mornings is something different on 89.5 FM. It's JP's Talk About Town.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB.
Live from the campus of Westfield State University, this is 89.5 FM, WSKB, Westfield.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 7:22. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM, radio for the Westfield masses. My name is Tina Gorman. I'm your Wake Up Wednesday host, and I'm joined today by Deirdre Ketchen. She's a PA student here at Westfield State University in the Physician Assistant Program. So welcome back, Deirdre.
Thank you.
Sorry, I got a tickle in my throat this morning. All right, so the topic of the day is eye health. So let's start with, what did you say your position title was when you were working in Texas, Deirdre?
Well, it's actually been since I moved back here when I was in Berkshire County.
Okay.
I was an ophthalmic assistant, which is very much like a medical assistant that you would see at your primary care doctor, you know, the person who takes your blood pressure and your temperature and all of that. It's very similar to that. We take the eye pressure, the vision measurement, and there are several very complex pieces of equipment actually for specialized testing that ophthalmic techs use.
Okay, so let's start with, what is the difference between an ophthalmologist and an optometrist?
Very fair question.
Okay, let's start there.
So, of course, both of them go to college, right?
Right.
And then after college, there's a 4-year program for optometry. And when you graduate, you are a doctor of optometry.
Okay.
For an ophthalmologist, after college, there's 4 years of medical school.
Okay.
And then there's a 1-year residency in general medicine. Okay. And then there are 3 more years of medical education specific to ophthalmology.
Okay. So
for a total of 8.
I was just going to say, if I've totaled this up right, I'm coming up with 8 years
Indeed.
Postgraduate for ophthalmologist. So what are the things that an optometrist can do versus what an ophthalmologist? Obviously, an ophthalmologist can do much more. They've had that much more education. But what are some of the differences there? And my follow-up question to that is, if I'm going to have an eye exam, who do I go to? Do I go to an optometrist or do I go to an ophthalmologist? How do I make that decision? So let's start with, what are some of the differences of what they both do?
Okay. So optometrists are primarily trained for and very, very good at diagnosing vision complaints. So really any eyeglass or spectacle correction that is needed, they're very good at that. They are also, depending on the state, they are allowed to treat and prescribe for certain eye conditions.
Okay.
But like I say, that
varies
between
from state
New York
to state.
Massachusetts.
All right.
Different
Okay.
rules.
Fair enough.
Whereas as a medical doctor, of course, they too have to be licensed in their state.
Yes.
But an ophthalmologist can address visual complaints as well as medical complaints of the eyes.
Okay. And what about surgery, like eye surgery? If somebody were to have, let's say, cataract surgery, and we're going to talk about cataracts in a few minutes, but just any kind of eye surgery.
Good question. So an ophthalmologist can operate. They do require the board certification surgery training the way
Okay.
that any other medical specialty does.
Right.
So, if you choose to go into surgery as an ophthalmologist, then you take your surgical board exam, and then you have the privilege of doing both.
Okay, so not all ophthalmologists can do surgery then.
Not all ophthalmologists choose to.
Right,
correct.
exactly.
Yeah.
Right. They can't if they're not licensed or certified to do the surgery.
Right.
Okay. And so now let's go back to what you were doing. Were you assisting in an ophthalmologist's office or an optometrist's office?
An ophthalmologist.
An ophthalmologist's office.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we were following a lot of patients with macular degeneration, cataracts, glaucoma, and doing routine testing and follow-up on them.
Okay. So let's start. Before we go, I want to get into some of the individual, what are cataracts? How are they treated? Same with glaucoma, same with macular degeneration. But before we do that, is there a standard, Deidre, for how often people should have their eyes examined? I mean, and does that change with age? What is
It
sort of the
does.
typical? What are we supposed to be doing? Let's talk about the ideal here.
Ideally, you would be seen every 2 years prior to the age of 65.
Okay.
And then after the age of 65, you should be seen at least annually by an ophthalmologist.
Okay.
Because as you age, the chances of medical eye conditions becomes higher. So at that point, you definitely want to transition to an ophthalmologist, even if you choose to keep your optometrist for
Okay.
all of your spectacle needs.
Okay.
You can absolutely see both types of providers. That's not a problem at all. A lot of people don't go to the eye doctor until they hit about 40, and that reading vision starts to go.
Yeah, it's interesting, though. There are so many, and I think now it's routine in elementary schools because there are so many children that we've found over the years that either have a vision problem or a hearing problem, or sometimes both, that's affecting their work at school. Sometimes it comes out as a behavioral problem, and it's really just because either they can't see, they can't see the board, or everything's kind of blurry. And if they don't really have a basis of comparison, they don't know, they think everybody's vision is that way. I think, is that standard now in most states where students are kind of screened for vision problems? Do you know? I don't know if you know that yet.
Yes, I think that screening has become much more common.
Yeah.
I know it's very common in kindergartens.
Yeah.
However, children's vision changes as their eyes grow, as
Sure.
their bodies
Sure.
grow. So a lot of times students won't have problems until they're in their preteen years.
Yep. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about some of the more common issues that we see, certainly in older adults. And of course, the first one that comes to mind is cataracts.
Yes.
So, and I remember going to and I believe he was an optometrist many years ago, who said to me that if people live long enough, everyone develops cataracts. It's just a matter of the degree. It may or may not affect your vision where you actually have to do anything. Is that true?
That's absolutely correct. Yeah.
Well, I'll be darned. Okay, so tell us what exactly is a cataract? What is it?
Okay, so right around midlife, the lens of the eye, which is a compartment of the eye that can sort of expand and contract to give you your close and far vision. Around midlife, that starts to harden, and protein particles begin to develop inside that gel in the lens. So that hardening and those protein deposits are your cataract there.
And the lens should be clear, right? Just like the lens of a camera or the lens of a windshield or whatever. So now you've got these proteins that are hardening on the lens. And what does that do? Make it sort of cloudy? Is that kind of basic?
Some things it can do, it sort of dims your vision in general.
Okay.
And then a lot of people have, I guess for younger people like yourself and I guess the best analogy would be looking out of a car windshield that's covered in pollen.
Okay.
Have you ever parked your car under? Yeah,
Yes.
you know what I'm talking about.
Yep.
Yeah, so you have that haziness, that yellowish quality to everything. Nothing's quite clear.
Yes. Got it.
And it happens very slowly, very gradually. And often people won't realize that their vision has substantially changed over the course of a few years.
I think that's interesting because, and we'll talk about we'll talk about macular degeneration and hopefully get to glaucoma as well. But I think with a lot of the vision things, that's the problem. It happens slowly and gradually. So it's not like you wake up one morning and suddenly, you know, everything is kind of yellowish, and you know, because if that happened, you would say, oh my gosh, I got to get to an eye doctor, something's wrong. But it doesn't. It happens slowly, and you don't realize, you know, that things are changing. Okay, so let's say that someone does what they're supposed to do. They're doing their annual, or they're 70 years old, and I'm going to the eye doctor, and the eye doctor diagnoses me with cataracts. So what's next? What's the next step?
It's completely up to you.
Okay.
So the thing about cataracts is the only way to, for lack of a better word, cure or heal.
Correct the situation.
Exactly. Is by surgical excision.
Okay.
So it comes down to when is the patient ready for that?
Okay.
And what most ophthalmologists recommend is that you seek care and pursue surgery when your vision is impairing your lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
When there's anything that you want to do but can't do because of your eyesight, then it's time to start pursuing that.
So things like driving, I'm just gonna throw some things out. Driving, reading. I mean, you know, people that are avid readers, or just even, you know, cooking. You know, I can't see the recipe. The recipe. I can't see the stove. Do I have the burner on number 3 or number 5? I can't really tell.
Yeah.
Okay. So
night driving is the thing that gets people first, probably.
Yes.
It's very common for people to say that they start to see starbursts or halos around headlights from oncoming traffic.
Yeah.
And that can become very bothersome.
Okay. All right. So, you know what? We're going to take a break. It's 7:32, but when we come back, we're going to talk about what exactly is that surgery, and, you know, sort of how successful is it, and so forth. So it's 7:32. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield Masses. My guest this morning is Deirdre Ketchen. We're talking about eye health, and we will be back after my special song for Deirdre, which is The Who singing "I Can See for Miles."
Very nice.
I know you deceived me, now here's a surprise. I know that you have, 'cause there's magic in my eyes. I can see for miles and miles and miles and miles and miles. If you think that I don't know about the little tricks you play, and never see you when deliberately you put things my way, well, here's a poke at you. You're gonna choke on it too. You're gonna lose that smile, because all the while I could see for miles and miles. I could see for miles and miles. I could see for miles and miles and miles and miles and miles. Oh yeah. You took advantage of my trust in you when I was so far away. I saw you holding lots of other guys, and now you've got the nerve to say that you still want me. Well, that says maybe, but you gotta stand trial, because all the while I can see for miles and miles. I can see for miles and miles. I can see for miles and miles and miles and miles and miles. Oh yeah. I know you've deceived me, now here's a surprise. I know that you have, 'cause there's magic in my eyes. I can see for miles and miles and
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by Westfield Bank. For more than 160 years, Westfield Bank has been an important community presence and commercial leader in the Pioneer Valley. With convenient full banking services in Westfield, West Springfield, East Longmeadow, Agawam, Feeding Hills, Springfield, Southwick, as well as Enfield and Granby, Connecticut, visit us on the web at westfieldbank.org. We thank the generosity of our underwriters. For more information, please contact the Westfield State Foundation at 413-572-8646.
Thursday morning from 6 till 8, it's Patrick Berry, owner of the Westfield News Group,
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB.
Live from the campus of Westfield State University, this is 89.5 FM, WSKB, Westfield.
Good morning, Westfield. It is 7:37. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM, radio for the Westfield masses. It is Wednesday, November 28th. My name is Tina Gorman. I'm your Wake Up Wednesday host, and I'm joined this morning by Deirdre Ketchen. She's a PA physician assistant student. I should not keep saying PA because we try to get away from the acronyms. But
yes, I have a no acronyms rule in this
exactly.
show. Or all the shows.
Yes, so it's a physician assistant student here at Westfield State University. But Deirdre has a background in working with ophthalmologists and eye health and so forth. So that's the topic of the day. So we're talking a little bit about cataracts. And Deirdre, you kind of talked to us about the fact that it's really up to the patient to decide when surgery is necessary, when their eye, the cataracts have progressed to the point where it's really affecting their lifestyle. So let's talk a little bit about what happens during. So if somebody says, "Okay, the time has come, I'm going to have cataract surgery," what does that mean? What are they having done to their eyes?
The procedure itself is actually really cool.
Okay.
But what the patient experiences, it's very similar to any other day surgery. You will be in and out of the hospital in probably 4 to 5 hours.
Okay.
So you'll go in very early in the morning probably and get prepped as if for a usual surgery. They'll put a lot of eye drops into your eyes that day, or into the eye.
They
always
only
operate
do
one at a time.
Right.
Indeed.
I think that's important to know.
And then, so they give multiple drops to dilate the eye, and then you're taken down to the operating room. Ordinarily, patients are awake for this. We try to minimize, most ophthalmologists that I know try to minimize the amount of sedation that's given and try not to put people under general anesthesia. And people are often a little freaked out by that. Wait a minute, you mean they're going to be cutting my eye while I'm awake?
I know.
But most ophthalmologists use a nice cocktail of soothing medications, and most people, I was just always so surprised by how many people came back the next day like, "Oh, that was nothing. I was so nervous about it, but it was nothing." But yeah, so you go down
during the surgery. What are they actually doing? What are they are they taking something out, putting something in?
Well, it's cool because it's a very, very small little instrument. It's operated by microscope, those big fancy things you see in the operating room.
Yep.
And what they do is an instrument enters that lens capsule, and then ultrasound is used to break up those protein particles.
Okay.
And then it's vacuumed out.
Okay. Yep.
And so how I was talking about the lens of your eye expands and contracts to give you vision.
Yes.
Well, what they, since we're essentially destroying that lens, a new one, an artificial lens, is implanted in the place of your natural lens, and the remaining tissue, what they call the envelope, seals over time, over the healing process, and holds that lens in shape, in place in the eye, and that takes over the focusing ability of your eye.
Okay.
But
so you're actually putting in kind of an artificial lens.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Now, ordinarily, it can only work at one distance, so you will still, ordinarily, most people will still need glasses after a cataract surgery.
Understood. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
And so if let's say somebody has to have surgery on both eyes, which is not that uncommon. I have lots of the older adults that, frequent the senior center who have had that. What is the time frame between, Deirdre, you wouldn't have your second eye done the next day? Like, what is the in-between time?
Different surgeons have different preferences. The American Academy of Ophthalmology, I believe, recommends at least 1 week.
Okay.
Most surgeons I've worked with do 2.
Yes. Okay. I generally, most of the seniors that I know of, it's been, kind of like this month, this eye, and the next month. So, but I didn't know what
That's
sort of the
common as
minimum
well.
was. And so tell us, so now, okay, so somebody's had this surgery. Now they're sent home on their merry way. What are there restrictions? What do they need to do? How do they take care of themselves? Do they have bandages on their eyes, or what happens here?
So ordinarily you will leave the hospital with a bandage on the eye.
Okay.
But you'll be removing it quite soon, actually. There will be eye drops that you'll have to put into the eye numerous times per day for several weeks after the surgery. So people have to get good at that and stay on target with their dosing times, things like that. But really, as far as returning to your normal life, it's really a very smooth transition. The first day you want to take it easy. Don't forget you just had surgery. You just had some degree of anesthesia. So, and then ramp it back up, some slow walking, no crazy weightlifting or anything like that for the first week or so. But each surgeon has their own preferences and will guide you in what they want you to do and not do.
Okay. And now, is there a chance that after someone has had surgery, let's fast forward 2 or 3 or 5 years, can cataracts come back, or how does that work?
Not exactly, but sort of.
Okay.
So, as I said, the proteins were removed by vacuum, and you're never going to get every single cell.
Gotcha. Yes.
Anything you vacuum, you're never going to get it all, right?
Right. It's just like when you do your carpet, you're never going to get every piece of lint.
Exactly.
There's going to be something there.
Exactly.
Okay.
So in many patients, there are cells remaining in that envelope. And for most people, for about 70% of people, those cells just lie quietly at the bottom of the lens and never bother you again. But for about 30% of people, higher for people with a certain type of cataract, it is common for those particles to just start to recongregate in the center of the lens. It's not exactly a new cataract. And it's not fixed the same way. You don't go into the operating room. Most ophthalmologists have in their office or in their surgery center a laser that can correct this problem.
Okay. All right. So pretty much you're going to be good to go after the surgery.
Most people are, yes.
Okay. Thank you so much. Good enough on cataracts. I'm looking at the time, and I think what we'll do is we'll take our break just a minute early. It's 7:44. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield masses. My guest this morning is Deirdre Ketchen, and we're talking about eye health. Because I want to get into macular degeneration and what that is. So I think this is kind of a good breaking point. We'll take a little break. We're going to listen to Johnny Nash singing "I Can See Clearly Now." This is what happens after your cataract surgery, and when we come back, we'll talk about macular degeneration.
I can see clearly now, the rain is gone. I can see all obstacles in my way. Gone are the dark clouds that had me blind. It's gonna be a bright, 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 sunshiny day. Gonna be a bright, 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 sunshiny day. I think I can make it now. The pain is gone. All of the bad feelings have disappeared. Here is that rainbow I've been praying for. Gonna be a bright, 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 sunshiny day.
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by Commercial Distributing Company of Westfield. Now in its third generation of family ownership, Commercial is one of the premier beverage distributors of Western Massachusetts. The Plasek family and the staff of Commercial Distributing wishes you good times throughout the year and urges you to drink responsibly.
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by Comcast and Xfinity.com, offering Xfinity TV, Internet, home phone, and home security services. Information on all that Xfinity has to offer in the Westfield area is available online at Xfinity.com.
We thank the generosity of our underwriters. For more information, please contact the Westfield State Foundation at 413-572-8646.
He rules the roost on Thursday from 6 till 10. It's Patrick Berry.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB.
Live from the campus of Westfield State University, this is 89.5 FM, WSKB, Westfield.
Good morning, Westfields. It is Wednesday, November 28th. It is 7:48. You're listening to WSKB 89.5 FM radio for the Westfield masses. My name is Tina Gorman, and my guest this morning is Deirdre Ketchen. We're talking about eye health. Deirdre's a physician assistant student. She's in the program here at Westfield State University with a background in working with an ophthalmologist for a number of years. So welcome back, Deirdre. Before we get into macular degeneration, which is sort of the next topic that I want to get into, we did have a caller who had asked if you mentioned about, is there a card that people carry in case of they're in an accident or something like that if they've had eye surgery? Do you know anything about that?
Yes, because the intraocular lens, that artificial lens that we implant, is an artificial medical device, you are given a card the same way that people with a pacemaker or something like that would be given.
Yes.
However, it's not as big an area of concern because today almost all lenses are made of acrylic or another synthetic polymer, and they are inert. And your own tissue does heal around them, so they essentially become a part of your body.
Okay.
And so it's not usually as bothersome.
Okay.
It's not something that you need to tell your MRI tech about before you go in or something like that.
Okay. All right. Good to know. All right. Let's switch gears here. And I want to talk a little bit about macular degeneration. And I'm particularly interested in this topic because I feel like we've had a rash of seniors who have been recently diagnosed with macular degeneration. And there's been a bit of panic and some, angst. So let's talk about what is macular degeneration and what are the symptoms? How would people even recognize that there's a problem?
There are two types of macular degeneration, and they present slightly differently. But the macula is the part of your eye that is responsible for your central vision.
Okay.
So when you have macular degeneration, that is where you're going to notice your problem. It's right in the center of your field of vision.
Okay.
So some people present with blurriness. Some people present with a small blind spot in the central vision. What is very common is for people to present with distortion. So they will say, I was looking at my window blinds this morning, and I know they're straight. I know they're supposed to be straight, but they didn't look straight. They looked wavy, curvy, crooked, broken. These are the kind of words we hear patients use. And the reason for that is the macula, the tissue in the back of your eye that's processing these images, is thinning out.
Okay.
And in the dry type of macular degeneration, these waxy little fatty deposits are forming.
Okay.
And so that's interfering with the path of the image to your brain. In the wet type, there are actually new blood vessels growing that shouldn't be there, growing behind the retina and leaking fluid and blood into that space. And that's what's causing the distortion.
So when someone is diagnosed with macular degeneration, is there anything that can be done about it?
Well, for the dry type, no. I know it sounds strange to say, but the dry type is kind of the good type because you don't have to fight against those blood vessels.
Right. Well, that's, as you were describing both, I thought when you talked about, extra blood, I thought, wow, that's a real problem. Okay.
Yeah. So for the dry type, there's nothing that can be done to halt the progression. And there's nothing that can be done to reverse the vision changes.
Okay.
There have been 2 very large controlled trial studies of different vitamin formulations.
Okay.
And there is some evidence that a certain combination of vitamins and antioxidants can reduce or slow the progression of the disease in people who already have dry macular degeneration.
Okay.
So taking the vitamins wouldn't prevent it, and it's not going to reverse it, but it might slow it down.
Okay.
And different ophthalmologists have different opinions on this, and this is definitely something you should discuss with your doctor.
Sure.
But for the wet type, there are, as scary as this sounds, we put injections into the eye of medications that can dry up those blood vessels and stop the overgrowth of new vessels.
Okay. And so generally speaking, if someone is diagnosed with macular, so they know they've got vision issues, they go to the ophthalmologist, they're diagnosed with macular degeneration. What's the progression in terms of how fast do things happen, or what does it depend on? I'm going to guess that it depends on, there are factors.
How
what
did
does
you
that
know?
Yeah. So what are the factors? Is it age related? Is it health related? General health related? What is it? What are the factors?
It's very unpredictable from person to person, especially for the wet type. For the dry type, there are modifiable risk factors for this disease. It's just like almost anything in medicine. Cigarette smoking, obesity, and family history all give you a worse prognosis.
Okay.
So,
and 2 out of 3 of those you have some control over.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
So really the best thing that you can do for your eyes to prevent macular degeneration is to not eat very many fatty or high cholesterol foods, because like I said, that's what those deposits are made of. So you don't want to feed that fuel.
Okay.
And to get your vitamin sources from whole foods, eat as many different color vegetables as you can is really the key to getting all the nutrients that your eyes need.
Okay. Perfect. Excellent. So there are some things that people can do. I think that's, I think one of the things about in the old days, because I've been in this field for a very long time now, and in the old days, people would get a diagnosis of macular degeneration. You kind of felt like it was a death thing. It's just like, well, there's nothing we can do. You just kind of would throw up your hands. And I don't think we knew as much, especially about nutrition and just general healthy lifestyle. You think of, well, I need to lose weight because of my heart. But you don't think of, or I need to quit smoking because of my heart. Well, we now know smoking is a risk factor for just about anything that could possibly go wrong with you, as is obesity. I think more and more we're finding that. So, yes, there is a correlation between eye health and, general health and so forth. So, good news, because people, do have some control over that. Deirdre, we just have a few minutes left, but I do want to touch on glaucoma, because, again, that's a fairly common diagnosis. And I think one of the issues with glaucoma, at least from my knowledge base and what I've seen with older adults as well, is that, again, it's one of those things that it's very insidious. It happens slowly over time, and you don't realize it. And then, all of a sudden it's kind of like, wait a minute, there's so little that I can see. So what happens in a glaucoma? Because I know that's, again, fairly, I've got a lot of seniors that have glaucoma and have had it for years. So let's talk about that.
And glaucoma is the one that kind of scares me the most, I guess you could say, because it doesn't change your vision and it doesn't cause you pain. So that's why it's called the silent thief of sight.
Yes.
Because you just, you don't know it's coming. So what it is, though, it's a problem with the fluid in your eyes. Your eye is basically just several different compartments of several different types of fluids. And one of them has a certain outflow path. It needs to flow through. And if that is clogged through any of a variety of mechanisms, that pressure builds up just like it would if any drain is blocked, right?
Exactly.
And that pressure pushes on the optic nerve. And so you have neurological damage from the eye to the brain.
Okay.
So it manifests as a loss of peripheral vision.
Okay. So, and peripheral vision is your outside vision. So it's not like you're looking straight ahead, but it's that vision of, oh, somebody came, I can see out of the corner of my eye that somebody walked in the room and the door's over here somewhere, to my left or to my right. Okay.
Absolutely.
So that's,
and by the time you notice, by the time you notice you've lost peripheral vision, we're very far advanced in the disease progress.
Yeah.
And, glaucoma, again, is something that we can treat, but if any losses have been, have already
you can't
happened.
reverse it.
Yeah.
You can't go back.
Right.
So whatever you've lost is gone. It's not coming back.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So for me, glaucoma is the big reason. The risk of glaucoma is, for me, the big reason that you want to hit that every 2 years before you're 65, every year afterwards. And optometrists can measure your eye pressure.
Yeah, typically they
that.
do. I mean, I know when I go to my optometrist, that's, they always test for glaucoma, and they do the eye pressure. I mean, when you think about it, I always think about something like driving, where you really need that peripheral vision. You need to kind of know what's going, a car's passing you on the left. Well, you're not turning your head all the way around to see that out of your central vision, but you kind of have to sort of have to know that. So if someone is diagnosed with glaucoma, as you said, we can't reverse it, but we can treat it, right?
Indeed.
And how is
yes.
it treated?
Usually with drops.
Okay.
There are several different kinds of eye drops. Your doctor can try all different combinations. And if that fails, there are also surgical options to help with that drainage.
So I'm going to ask one final question, Deirdre, and that is, because this is a huge problem I have found over the years with older adults with the eye drops. It's like, is there any technique or for people self-administering their eye drops? Because I know that can be really challenging for people. Are there any tricks to that?
Can I describe this with words?
Okay.
Usually I just demonstrate for patients. All right. So if you place the bottle between your index finger and your thumb, use your pinky to pull down your lower lid.
Okay.
Tilt your head back, look up at the ceiling, and use those two fingers to gently squeeze the bottle to let one drop fall into the eye.
Gotcha. You know what? I think the magic
I think
here.
you did a pretty good job.
I think she did a great job. So the magic, I think, though, is with the pinky.
Yes.
That's the thing, because I think most of us are, you're trying to do this, and of course your instinct is, as soon as you hover something over there, you blink your eye, and you have eye drops running down your nose and your cheeks, but nothing.
Pulling down that lower lid really helps.
With that pinky. Yeah. All right. Well, on that note, I want to thank you, Deirdre Ketchen, physician assistant student at Westfield State University. Let's just keep these PA students coming. They are just wonderful radio guests and have really given us some wonderful information. Your backgrounds are so interesting.
We really enjoyed this series as well.
Yeah, good luck in your studies. And as I said to LJ and Dana, let's get, we're going to keep up and keep bringing people back. I know next year it's going to be challenging with rotations and
that's okay. We've got a whole fresh crop of students coming in.
Excellent. Perfect. Well, good luck with exams and all the tests coming up, and happy holidays.
You as well.
All right, thanks, Deirdre.